The Suns made the wrong kind of history on Sunday, and Oklahoma City took game one of the first round series. We'll talk about all of that after this. What's up and welcome into the PHNX Suns post-game show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why winning is everything at Bet365. It's good that winning is everything there because it was not here. We got the Freckle Mama behind the Mac, Steven, Espo, Eric. I'm Gil. Well, fellas, that was ugly.
I'm ready for the game tonight. When's that going down, guys? The first game for Phoenix Suns. I mean, in the playoffs against OKC, I just try to get up 1-0 on the series and, move on well from the play-in. We're going to have a good time tonight, right?
You keep waiting. It's a meme. It's been 84 years here.
Yeah.
That might be you if you're still waiting.
That was brutal.
Yeah, they got the crap slapped out of them like they were at a fast food restaurant. It was not pretty tonight or today. I don't know anymore. Who cares? Wherever it was played, it was not pretty.
It beat them in tonight.
Yeah, not good.
How do I follow that up?
Thank you, everybody, for showing up with us.
They got iced and they showed no spice. It was just, it was bad.
Not wrong. Not wrong. You can end the show there.
119-84 win for the Oklahoma City Thunder. That 35-point deficit is the largest loss in Phoenix Suns franchise history in the postseason. And now the Thunder have handed the Suns their largest loss in the regular season, which is 49 earlier this year, and 35. Steven, there are a lot of things that went wrong for the Suns in this game. A lot of things went right for the Thunder in this game. But throughout the game, your focus was a lot of things that the Suns weren't doing. And one word that you use is they're not sharp tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to bring it. Like, OKC brought all of the force in the many ways that they've shown, which is why they're the reigning champs at the moment and the odds-on favorite to go and do it again the season following the first one they got. You got to bring it. And I think that's the simplest way to put it. They didn't bring it. They didn't bring it in terms of the effort, the multiple efforts. They didn't bring it on the margins. Didn't bring it shooting from deep. Didn't bring it with the ball movement or ball security. Didn't bring it at the point of attack. Like, there's a lot to clean up. But I do like that a lot of the things that even if Oklahoma City played to a lot of their strengths, I feel like there's a lot the Suns can reel in just by playing their game, having more control over the things that are controllable by their own doing. It's just about, are you going to go and do it, and are you going to go and do it for a full 48 like you did against Golden State?
Well, yeah, we talked about it. There's no margin for error against this team, and you made about every error that you could tonight, and that's why you get your teeth kicked in. Turnover, second chance points, rebounding. Like, you did everything you couldn't do, and that's why you lost tonight by this much. If you do not play a perfect game, you can expect similar results today.
Yep. And this team was far from perfect today. And Steven, you said they didn't bring it. And I think that is, I agree. They didn't bring it. And my question is, do they have it? Do you think that it got left Friday and they ran out of it on Friday, Eric? Or do you think it was just a matter of, listen, like they're just severely outmatched, or a combination of the both?
I do think that they didn't have it as good as they could have it tonight, and they could be way better the following 3 at minimum games. But at the end of the day, you are running into a buzzsaw here, right? It's why when they lost the first play-in game to Portland, it felt like almost an entire playoff series loss rolled up into 4 quarters. Because as much as the Spurs are great, and there's an equal chance that the Suns could have gone out, played the Spurs, and suffered their largest playoff loss in franchise history, this is a team that's won a championship. This is a team that not only retained all of their key pieces, basically all of their pieces after winning a championship, but then added some pieces as well over this season. Plus, they also have playoff experience now, and they haven't lost a first-round game in the last 2 years. This is a buzzsaw, point blank, period. Now, can the Suns do something this series to maybe dull that buzzsaw a bit? Sure. Were there a couple of positives that you could take from tonight? I think they played really good individual defense on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Obviously, Shai got to the line a ton. That's just what's going to happen. But I felt like they did a really good job by committee, and that's even losing Jordan Goodwin halfway through the game. So there are methods for them to improve, right? But at the end of the day, you need role players to hit shots. You need your ball movement to be crisper. But all these things become so much harder when you're not playing the Golden State Warriors, who were the 10th seed and under 500 in the Western Conference. Or hell, it's even harder than when you play the Portland Trailblazers, right? Who were the 8th seed going into the play-in, even though they have personnel that frustrates you. Yeah, you can be better. It might not result in a win, but for me, I need to see them be a little bit sharper going forward just because you don't want to get embarrassed, right? We're here because, okay, we're excited. We were supposed to be rebuilding. You make the playoffs, and you're getting the experience. You want some positives to take away from the experience. There was very, very few positives to take away from tonight.
Yeah, but
today.
That's why it's another dollar in the jar.
We need a window in this studio.
I think everybody but Steven has done that so far. But yeah, it's a 7-game series, first of 4 wins, and it's about adjustments. And what do you do there tonight? Obviously, you got your teeth kicked in.
If only they had a coach that made adjustments, though.
Well,
it's over.
Yeah, guess what? You got 2 days before the next game, and you figure it out, and then 2 games between that when you come home. And that's the beauty of the playoffs, is there's no back-to-backs. There's the same opponent each time, and you have to figure out how to make it work. And that's the best. So
that's the thing. We talked a lot about Oklahoma City and giving them credit. And I think that a lot of the credit that we give them for who they are, especially I think the big thing we talked about, are they going to have any rust? And honestly, you could say that they might, because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was 5 of 18 from the field in this game. He wasn't necessarily doing what we know him to do as a guy who's a 30-plus point per game scorer for the last 4 seasons, finished with 25 points in 29 minutes still. You mentioned the free throws. And a lot of what the Thunder did well and do well generally cause the Suns to not do what they do. And you can talk about the turnovers and how a lot of things they needed to clean up. And I'm curious what your guys' impression of Oklahoma City and the way that they kind of enforced their will and played with force and threw the Suns off. Like, is there any way? I think, like, what do we think of the way that the Suns handled that pressure and things like that?
They didn't. I mean, this is an Oklahoma City team that is one of the best defenses that we've seen, and you're not gonna, they're going to play that way in the playoffs. Like, that's not just going to change from the regular season. And they went in there and they played massively good, massively well. However you want to put it, they kicked your ass from defense. So that's crazy. That's crazy.
Just a clarification here on the worst playoff loss ever. This is actually the 3rd worst playoff loss ever. They lost by 44 to the Seattle Supersonics back in 1997, and then they also lost by 39 to the Utah Jazz. That one coming in 1990 to 1990, so the 1991 playoffs. So this is the 3rd worst.
That was on me.
This is the 3rd worst loss in franchise history in the playoffs. Hey guys, still bad, still really bad, and the worst loss since the 2022 loss to the Dallas Mavericks, obviously in Game 7, where they lost 123 to 190.
So thinking more about still third loss, it's a podium finish for this loss, and how
they got bronze in terms of worst losses in playoffs.
And it was bad basically from the get-go, because the thing that we think about first, it really just kind of got away from the Suns when the Thunder had that 17-2 run in the first quarter, and then they had another double-digit scoring run in the second quarter, and at that point we kind of knew. When you think back to the beginning of this game, Steven, and where it kind of went off the rails, what was it that didn't really click for the Suns, or was it more of things clicking for the Thunder?
I think it's a natural meeting halfway of both. I think it's the lack of ball security from the Suns, but also the ramped up pressure and sustaining that across multiple lineups from Oklahoma City. So, Ayrton, we can go ahead and bring up the number from tonight's game. So my number for tonight's game is 59. That's the combined second chance points that Oklahoma City went and converted on their own accord by way of 19 offensive rebounds, and then the 34 points that Oklahoma City scored by way of 19 Suns turnovers. So Oklahoma City had, or the Suns rather, we can flip it. The Suns had the same amount of turnovers as Oklahoma City had offensive rebounds. Not going to get it done. Context-wise, I want to dive a little bit deeper into things. So regular season series, OKC throws a bunch of switches at the Suns, throws a little bit of cross-matching at the Suns. And Devin Booker is the only person that's seeing any inkling of two to the basketball. The transition from regular season basketball to playoff basketball, Oklahoma City comes out of game one. They say, we know you're used to going against a little bit softer of coverages at times, and Devin being the only person that's getting two to the ball. What about if we give everybody two to the ball? And it's not everybody getting blitzed, but it's getting hedges. Anytime you bring an extra person, whether it's a dribble handoff or pick and roll to the ball, everybody's seeing the hedge. Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, even Jalen Williams, even their guards. Everybody that's guarding the screener is hedging. And they're not just hedging and getting out of there. They're hedging, making sure you either terminate your dribble or you just can't turn the corner. And then they get back to their matchup. So for the Suns, you have to be better with your plan to attack that, or just outright sometimes maybe you shave off some of that volume so that you're not bringing so much commotion to the basketball, and hope that that can kind of allow you to manipulate some space. But just generally speaking, the Suns are a pick and roll heavy team. I think they were 4th in the league in pick and rolls. You're not going to run away from your identity in the postseason. So you have to find a way to better manipulate if that's the coverage they're going to be giving you.
Well, we talk about how possession, winning that battle is going to help this team, and that's what it's been all year. OKC had 10 more shots than the Suns tonight.
Yeah.
They were a bottom third team in number of attempts from three this season. They had 46 attempts to the Suns 39 tonight. You're not going to win in that situation, especially when you shoot 35% overall. Everything was against you tonight on all that. And you're not going to overcome that.
Well, in the offensive rebounding too, I know a lot of times, like when you look at the Suns versus the Rockets during the regular season, it's like, oh my God, like they're just too small, right? Like that's just Houston's identity. And while the 2 7-footers did start for OKC and they grabbed a fair amount of offensive rebounds themselves, it was everybody else going and just kind of out hustling, out instincting, like, okay, I know the ball's going to go there. We've been given a directive to go crash on the offensive rebounds, and the Suns not being able to eliminate it. And some of the times, like you mentioned during our watch along, Steven, like Dillon Brooks was fully locked in for 22 seconds of the possession, then took his foot off the gas just a little bit for that last second, and AJ Mitchell runs out of the corner, grabs an offensive rebound, and puts it away. Those are the things that help get this game out of control. And once you give OKC control, I don't know how many times they've lost it so far this season. You go back and you look at a lot of their losses. It's not like OKC's up 20 and they blow a 20, 25 point lead. That's just not how this team rolls, right? So the Suns came out, they punched first, they had a lead, they looked good. OKC punched back, and then the Suns started turning over the ball, started giving up these offensive rebounds. And as soon as OKC smells blood, it's usually over for teams, right? So it's not about making mistakes. It's once you make a couple of mistakes, even if you play perfect afterwards, which of course the Suns didn't do, OKC's not giving you any room to breathe. Like you're not going to just be able to pull it back in unless you play better than perfect.
There are a couple of things that stand out, what you were saying. Alex Caruso had 2 offensive rebounds in 13 minutes. AJ Mitchell, 3 offensive boards.
Alex Caruso only played 13 minutes.
Only played 13 minutes. So that's another bad part of this is one of their oldest guy on their roster didn't have to play anything but 13 minutes.
Jared McCain only played 8. Aaron Wiggins only played 7. Like these are guys that are legit rotation.
Isaiah Hartenstein barely played 20 minutes in this game. AJ Mitchell had 3 boards. Cason Wallace had 2 boards. These are all reserve guards, ended up with 7 offensive boards off the bench in limited time because they didn't have to play that much. And the other thing that stands out when you talked about it, you mentioned Devin Booker finished 8 of 17. Dillon Brooks 6 of 22, kind of shot himself out of the slump a little bit on the back end of it, but he wasn't really getting what he wanted. And looking at this, you always pointed out, Steven, when there aren't good scoring quarters, Suns 20, 24, 22, 18. Didn't have a quarter with more than 25 points.
Unless you're playing some of the best defense that the league has seen this year and sustaining that for 48 minutes, that's not even close to what it's going to take to get a win in this series.
Yeah, you need more from your other scores. I know that, Book 23 points. A lot of people will be like, oh, well, Devin Booker only scored 23 points. He must not be good, right? Jalen Green Obviously, 6 of 16, 17 points for him. It's not ideal coming off of averaging 35 points in the play-in, but I got a lot of eyes on Dillon Brooks, who took 22 shots tonight, hit 6 of them. If you are going to be on a team with Devin Booker, who sees all of this coverage, right, who is getting put through hell by an all-time great defense in OKC, and you're getting open shots, which Dillon Brooks was getting some open shots, you got to at least hit those. And if you're not hitting those, I don't think that you get the leeway to go out there and take some of the other shots that he was taking. Now, he hit an awesome 4-point play. He had some tough finishes around the rim, but guess what? Right after finishing around the rim twice, stupid foul on the other end, he gets taken out of the game. Any of the momentum's gone. It was not a good Dillon Brooks game tonight. They're going to need more out of him if they want to seal a game in this series. And I know you live by Dillon Brooks, you die by Dillon Brooks, and he deserves credit because more often than not, we've been living by him. But ever since he's come back from that hand injury, he hasn't really found his rhythm offensively. If you're going to not have your rhythm offensively, sometimes you got to know when to take your foot off the gas. And maybe that's just not who Dillon Brooks is, but that doesn't mean that doesn't need to be said.
Yeah, the big question to me is who's taking those 10. I like the bench no-showed completely. Jordan Goodwin gets hurt, only plays 5 minutes. Like, it came down to Dillon, Devin, and Jalen taking almost every shot tonight because no one else was around. And yeah, would I like some of those 22 to go to Booker or Green? Sure, but they were, what were they, a combined 14 of 33? Like, they weren't shooting great. This was just the Thunder's defense kicking your ass. Yeah. This wasn't like nobody was shooting well tonight, and even your two guys that are supposed to be the horses of your offense in Booker and Green no-showed pretty much offensively.
And like I hear what people are saying about like Dillon. But we talked about it in pregame, man. Oklahoma City is not a team that concedes many, if any, wide open catch and shoot threes. You can move the ball as much as you want. You'll be moving it for the sake of moving it. Like a high school coach saying, we need 3 ball reversals in the paint touch before anybody.
You just gave me flashbacks. That ain't good. That's not good.
I know, because I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it too. But no, you can't. You're not gonna be successful trying to get Oklahoma City in rotation. That's just not something that they do because their defense is so stout. Jordan mentioned it, similar to what he was talking about with Houston and even Portland to a certain extent. It's really hard to get them in closeout situations. So in the odd instance that you're able to, you have to go and milk that for as much as you possibly can. Otherwise, it's going to come back to those top 3 guys. Talked about their mid-range numbers, the pull-up twos, pretty much all season. They took the shots that they did on the rhythm and merits that they did because that's a shot the Suns are going to have to ultimately live by. Those guys playing one-on-one, winning their one-on-one matchups in the capacities specific to their skills, and you roll the dice after that.
Yeah, the big thing I think about when I think about Dillon trying to shoot himself out of the slump or whatever, when you're getting beat by this much, try to find some types of positives, and that's what we're going to try to do is try to find some types of positives somehow, some way, but we're going to get to that after this break.
If you ever find yourself in a situation suffering from a serious injury or someone in your family has unfortunately suffered a wrongful death, you need to call Mark and Alexis Breyer first. You need to call 602-783-8841. That's 602-783-8841 because Mark and Alexis Breyer not only lead a experienced and specialized team in serious injury and wrongful death, but they lead a team that actually cares about you, and they put their money where their mouth is by making you and all their clients guarantees that you receive at least as much in your pocket as they receive for their fee, even if they have to reduce their attorney's fee to do so, a guarantee that you can cancel your fee agreement at any time for any reason, and a guarantee that you may speak with one of their lawyers as often as you choose about anything you'd like to discuss. You'll never be left hanging by the husband and wife law team. So if you've had a serious injury, it's imperative you call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them that PHNX sent you.
It's playoff time, and you gotta make sure that you're geared up for playoff time. And if you want to do that, head to the Fanatics app because that is the one-stop shop for all of your Suns fans. Yeah, go and get that app on your phone already, Steven, if you don't already. They've got everything that you need Suns-wise. I know you've been liking the statement jerseys that they're playing in these playoffs. They got those on the Fanatics app, and they got the shorts that match too. I got them in my cart. Just gotta matter.
Purple too that I like a lot.
See, exactly. And the cool thing, they might not have this shirt, but they have a lot of vintage gear as well on the Fanatics app. Eric, I know you are big.
I was stress scrolling before our play-in game.
See, exactly. And they had some vintage gear. You didn't realize they had that stuff on there. So if you want some of the new, some of the old, they have that all for you on the Fanatics app. And it's more than just gear as well. You can play free daily games on the app, earn fan cash, and you use that fan cash to buy the Suns gear that you want to be geared up for the NBA playoffs. And if you want to go to the game, They got tickets as well. So download the Fanatics app and start cashing in on your fandom. App access open to all, 21 plus to play the games. No purchase necessary. United States only. Void where prohibited. PHNX Suns postgame here, presented by Bet365, reacting to a 119-84 Game 1 loss by the Phoenix Suns. And I know I promised some positivity before we get to that. Or
we couldn't find any.
So
we were looking for it.
I'm still looking for it, but we're going to find it at some point. But of course, we got to continue and focus on something that's plagued this team all year, and that is injuries and health coming into the game. And it's important context for this result. You're without Mark Williams, again, for a second consecutive game, without Grayson Allen for a third consecutive game, right? Because he missed the season finale. He's been out for over a week now with that hamstring. And then you lose Jordan Goodwin. He only plays 5 minutes in this game. So we start with the guy who exits the lineup today. Calf soreness, I believe, was the distinction. He's had some issues this year. Concern level with that. Do you think it was a matter of, hey, we're done for in this game anyway? Because he had foul trouble, so he wasn't playing very much anyway. Then he hurts his calf when he's back on the court, and they don't put him back in. Do you guys expect to see him in game 2, or where are we at mentally with him?
Concern level's high. I mean, he had to ask for himself to get checked out of the game. Espo, you and I were talking about it on the watch along. It doesn't seem like he's been at 100%. The last couple of weeks, he's had like a little bit of a weird gait when he's been walking, a little bit of like a limp, but maybe he continues to play. He is absolutely a dog. We know that. We know he's going to push through whatever injury has been plaguing him, but you want to talk about winning on the margins against any team and having to win against the margins against OKC? You want to know who does that? Jordan Goodwin. And it was brutal when he picked up those 2 fouls early on Shai and then couldn't play in the game. Like, they were, I mean, I know it's a very small sample size. They were up when Jordan Goodwin was on the court, right? Jordan Goodwin goes out. Defense takes a hit. Rebounding takes a hit. Your three-point shooting takes a hit. Just your overall give an F attitude takes a hit. And when you talk about Colin and Royce and all these guys off the bench, well, they aren't scoring either. Well, that puts so much more emphasis on Goody, who was really good and helped ice the Warriors in their last game alongside Jalen Green, who had a great game. So this is a huge loss. And if he is out for multiple games, that might be the nail in the coffin of taking a game. I mean, we don't even need to talk about taking the series.
Yeah, it's extremely concerning when you know he's the guy in that starting lineup that's there for defense and that toughness alongside Dillon Brooks. You remove him from there, that rotation gets even more questionable, especially on the defensive side. He's a guy that you can feed off that energy, and when you remove him, I don't even know where you would go in the starting lineup if he's out as well. It changes so many factors for this team. And, you know, with Colin going essentially MIA the last few weeks and really the last month, regardless of if it's injury or why, Jordan Goodwin's been that one, you know, other guard you could trust in a lot of ways. You don't have that if he's out now. It changes the equation completely.
We saw 7 minutes for Haywood Highsmith tonight, and when the signing was made, Steven, you described him as, in some respects, a bigger Jordan Goodwin. Is that somebody you think that they could turn to in the first unit if Goody's unable to go on Wednesday?
If he was healthy, I don't know if you get to Jordan Goodwin starting, but he hasn't been healthy. He's clearly still working back into game rhythm. I just don't think they would throw him into the fire. I think the answer is Royce O'Neal.
Go back to Royce.
Yeah, so Dillon Brooks now becomes your Shai Gilgeous-Alexander direct matchup, and then you have Royce O'Neal probably guarding someone like Jalen Williams, or maybe they kind of get a little more tricky with the matchups because of Royce's strengths and weaknesses. Maybe they take him off of someone like Jalen Williams. Maybe Devin ends up guarding him, and they put Royce on Hartenstein or Holmgren. So we'll see. I imagine it's probably just going to be Royce just for the veteran consistency that we've seen all season. And then, yeah, you roll the dice hoping that he's knocking down some threes and finding a rhythm a little differently than he did tonight.
With respect to the starting unit, we got to talk about the other guys who were unavailable tonight. Mark, and we talked about this pregame with the injury report, Mark and that left foot soreness and the concerning nature of that. Grayson, by Wednesday, it will have been 12 days since he tweaked his hamstring in LA in that penultimate game of the season. Do we expect to see either of those guys when game 2 rolls around? For me, I would say my gut is like maybe when the series shifts back here, because it'll be Saturday. There's 2 games in between game 1 and 2, and then 2 games again between games 2 and 3. But is that an emergency button that you maybe think is worth pressing to avoid that 2-0 series deficit, or does it not matter?
I think you might get I'd get Grayson.
They did say it's breaking case of emergency during the podcast.
But okay, what emergency? Because you're down 30, he's not playing. It's a close game. It's a close game without him, so you're not going to play him.
I think this is okay. He's close, so we'll have him there in case early on multiple guards got in serious foul trouble, and we go, okay, we'll play him now. My guess is 2 more days of rest. He'll be closer to that, and maybe he's back. With a foot like Mark's going through an injury where they admitted and we saw is a precursor essentially to a broken foot if you continue to go on it. I'm guessing there's going to be a much longer timetable to make sure he's 100% before you put him out there, because also it's a guy that's going into free agency as well, and that's probably a concern of his too, is if I break my foot going into free agency as well, that changes the whole equation for me personally. So I don't know about Mark. Grayson, I would feel better, but I don't know that changes enough to make even a game closer with Grayson out there.
I almost feel worse about Grayson's availability with him being available and then not playing. I don't know why. Maybe that's just a weird mental thing.
Out if he wasn't close.
But that's the thing is like, why I've never seen like a dude who's a borderline starter for a team be available in multiple straight games and not even touch the court. Like, I don't know. That to me is somewhat concerning, where it's like, oh, are we playing mind games? Well, the mind games are, okay, well, Grayson Allen's not ready to play. I still think there's a chance he comes back this series. Steven, I'd be floored if Mark Williams plays in this series. Floored.
I mean, it's not looking like Mark is coming back anytime soon. Unfortunately, that's not reporting. That's just perspective. That's opinion-based right there. The Grayson part would definitely help if he's healthy, but you want to make sure he's healthy before you throw him out there in the fight or the playoffs, because it was the hamstring, right? That's not something that's easy to deal with for a guy, especially a guy that relies on his mobility as much as Grayson does. We talked about him in that initial thrust.
One of the older guys on the team too.
And he's also one of the elder statesmen, if you will. Yeah, so you don't want to be throwing a guy out there with that type of injury if he's not healthy. It is tough that the Suns have been snake bitten by injuries at the most untimely moments of a season, but these are just multiple chronicles of that.
Yeah, we're thinking about this a lot, and obviously we're getting some super chats from you guys. We'll get to those at the end, but we did get a question from Sam for you, Steven. How do you think we find ways to get the blender going when it seems that nobody on this team outside of Book is capable of creating anything in a half-court setting against high-level defense?
Yeah, you got to handle pressure better. If I talked about the hedges that the Oklahoma City was throwing at them today, something they did not do in the regular season. A hedge is still 2 to the basketball. It's not an outright blitz, but it's still 2 to the. You have 2 guys committing all of their attention to making sure that ball handler can't turn the corner, but ball handler also can't make a direct pass to the roller. What can you do? If you have 2 guys on one, that means you have a 4-on-3 advantage on the backside. Have someone flash to space, kick it to that guy, and now you have equal opportunity to either hit the roller, or if someone rotates from the backside to the roller, corner skip is there, opposite 45 skip is there. You just have to be more methodical with the approach. They're working to try to slow you down, force you late in the shot clock, or force errant decisions. If you meet that force with a little bit of counterpunching, you have different avenues that you can attack that until the Royce O'Neal starting point. If you still want to go pick and roll, what we saw against the Thunder in that January 4th game where they won was a lot of Royce O'Neal making secondary ball handling decisions in an efficient manner, or just knocking down shots within that 4-on-3 advantage off of Devin Booker's attention. So you got to handle that better first. If you don't handle that better, there's no other option on the board. After taking that pressure, holding it for 2 to the ball, move it around, get to your movement, and then find other guys to play secondary playmaking.
Almost 300 of you in here. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Since we're sticking on kind of the negative side of things, can I bring up one other thing?
Oh, great question, Sam, by the way.
Yeah,
nothing new there. Of course. Just another day to answer why.
Sam,
appreciate you.
Sam knows ball. That is for sure. The bench, the other guys, we talked about this in pregame. If they go MIA, it does not matter what your starters do.
Yeah.
Because this OKC team is so deep that their second unit will kick your ass if the first unit is playing even with your guys. The bench has to show up. Colin being completely MIA again. Royce disappearing into the background again. Man getting a chance and scoring nothing. Like, these guys have to step up because you are not going to even keep a game close if these guys who have been such a key throughout the year that have lifted you up. Usually, remember when the second unit would come in and people were like, "Holy crap, they're almost better than the first unit." Well, guess what? The fire's been extinguished and the coals are cold right now. Like somebody needs to step up and get that fire stoked again because these other guys are such a key to where they've been. So
yeah, and it's just by committee too. I mean, if you go back to the game that the Suns beat the Thunder at the beginning of this year, right? Nobody besides Dillon Brooks, Devin Booker, and then Jordan Goodwin had great games. So if you just put Jalen Green in for Jordan Goodwin, you say, okay, you have your top 3 scorers. What about everybody else? Okay, well, Mark Williams chipped in with 8 points. You know, Oso Guidaro had 5 points. Ryan Dunn had 9 points, right? Colin Gillespie had 8 points. I don't think any of them need to go out here and have 15, 20, 30-point games. Like, no, but we need a little bit of more by committee action here. And to your point, Steven, about how do you get guys in a blender, right? When you were watching one of the possessions, it was a turnover. Dillon Brooks tried to bounce past Devin Booker on a backdoor cut. You're like, I think that's the first backdoor cut that we've seen all game. These role players need to be better moving without the ball and need to be better finding spaces and opportunities. Now, again, OKC is one of the best defensive teams of all time, maybe not just of this season. So they know how to defend off-ball actions. They know how to jump passing lanes, how to force turnovers and stuff. But even Ayrton was watching the game with us, obviously, and a guy was getting trapped, and he was like, somebody's got to move and help get the ball out of these guys' hands, right? People need to be sharper. And when you say sharper, I think it can mean a lot of different things. To me, it means your off-ball movement. You need to know where you are supposed to be to at least alleviate the pressure if there's 2 to the ball to Book or to Green or to Dillon, or backdoor cut if you're Ryan Dunn. I felt like that's always been one of his best strengths as an offensive player, is knowing when to cut. Ryan Dunn had 0 points in almost 25 minutes tonight, right? We know he's not going to go out there and consistently shoot the 3, but he could at least put some pressure on the rim. It's unacceptable to have this many guys, like you mentioned, Espo, kind of start to go cold at once. We've seen some cold streaks from players, but there's a difference between cold streaks and not even getting yourself shots either, right? Not getting shots is a testament to not being in the right place at the right time and not moving the ball well. If you're going to miss, that's fine. Miss. That's at least a step up from not being able to actually go out there and create any quality looks at all.
Yeah, that all starts perfectly said from you. That all starts with your primary ball handlers, not one in particular, but the collection as a whole. If you got the responsibility of operating at the point of attack, and you know that there's a certain type of attention, but also a certain type of personnel that your opponent has, you got to be sharp, man. You can't go up against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense and be throwing the ball all over the field, or the Baltimore Ravens defense and be throwing.
That was nuts.
What the?
That's not how
that's how bad this game was.
I don't like them, but I respect them. I told you that.
That's respect.
But that's the thing. And I say that because there's a reputation that precedes Oklahoma City for their defense. You know, if you're a quarterback and you're coming into that nasty gold and black team or whatever they call them colors, you got to come with it. You got to be tough. That's the equivalent of basketball's version of it right now. That's Oklahoma City. They're daunting, and they really get it done. And if you're not meeting that force with your own off of the sharpness and execution, to your point, Eric, it's not going to be fun. So you have to play faster. You have to make better decisions, and that starts with your faction of primary ball handlers, first and foremost. 4 guys, since we're a podcast talking about the team, the 4 guys I'm talking about, Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and Colin Gillespie. 4 primary ball handlers tonight. Y'all got to be better with the ball in your hands, period.
When you said the 4 guys, I thought you were about to name all of us. Like, 4 guys, like, oh, dang, what? I was like,
Do you guys, here's a pop quiz. Who led the Suns in assists tonight?
Oso Guidaro.
It was a 2-way tie between Oso Guidaro and Royce O'Neal. Can you guess how many assists
I saw that. I saw
4, right?
3.
3. Yeah.
The Suns' leader in assists tonight had 3. They had 16 total assists on the game. Like
on 29 midfield.
Yeah, Devin Booker had 2 assists. Dillon Brooks had 2 assists. Jalen Green had 1 assist. Like, again, you got to hit shots to get assists. That's a problem. But also, you got to create good looks to get assists as well. Like again, at the end of the day, all of this stuff looks a lot better when you're playing the Warriors or even when you're playing the Trailblazers, but we saw parts of it with the Trailblazers when they turned their defense on and they hit a switch. It was like the Suns can't even get a 3-point shot, let alone miss one, right? So this has been an unfortunate theme for the Suns now at the end of the season, and it happened when they had their 5 to 8 minute offensive spells for the last couple of weeks where they would let teams back in the game. It's not just about hitting shots, it's about creating.
And you saying that? Oh,
I was just gonna say, yeah. If you counted the live ball turnovers, they probably had 20 more assists than
that is true. They got a lot of pick sixes for the Suns tonight. But that you saying that, Eric, before we go to our next break and try to find some positivity, I'm going to toe the line between context and excuses. And a lot of things we're talking about.
Why do you point at you for context and then looked at you and I for excuses?
Did I? I don't know. I was looking everywhere. I should just look straight. But genuinely, like thinking about this, like a lot of things we're talking about that didn't go well and the things that could have been sharper. And I kind of said this already, but you just mentioned it works better against the Warriors and, sometimes against the Trailblazers, and thinking about everything over the past 36 hours. How much of this do we think will just be fixed in the fact that, hey, they have all the rest of the day today to rest and recover. They have tomorrow and Tuesday to look at some film, figure some things out, just get off their feet, because they had a very emotionally charged week and a physically taxing week against the Warriors and the Trailblazers, with the challenge that those games presented. To have to come and play this game early and travel yesterday, do you think at all that there could be a much different look from this team Wednesday, just given the context of the game that they had to play today?
I mean, I think you expect it. I don't know if it ends up in a win, right? But I mean, yeah, they played 2 days ago. They're fighting a war of attrition at this point. OKC has won their first 2 playoff games last 2 years by like a combined 84 points. I mean, you're in a really, really hard situation on the road. I expect it to be better. I don't know if that means they win, but I expect them to not score only 84 points next game.
I think you could clean up some things, but it's not going to clean up, 35 points there. One thing that could help, back to the ball handling, is Grayson was a guy that was very good at going in and helping calm things down as a primary ball handler. So if he does come back and can play, that could help in that situation where the rest that you're talking about could pay off in that way, and that could have an impact. I don't think simply just the rest, though, will swing a whole lot.
Yeah, I think they just have to find ways to play faster in the half court. I've been tapping the tempo sign for feels like half of the season at this point. They can't play this slow and be this kind of predictable with some of the things they're doing. If they're able to kind of lean into the unpredictability, but doing so with a certain type of tempo, Eric, to your point, guy wants to use a down screen, he gets top locked. Does that mean you're without options, or is the back door there? If Oso has the ball and the big is at the top of the key, that means that there's nothing but smalls to help at the rim. Get there with a certain type of ferocity. Back to one of the keys, the purpose. Have purpose behind everything you're doing. Your execution will naturally come from there. But you got to make those decisions a whole lot quicker, because for every half second that you're back on your heels, Oklahoma City is a half step more on their toes. And when they get on their toes, we see the volume of pick sixes and points off turnovers that we saw tonight.
Yeah, that's basically it. And I think that's, thinking about it, I do expect better effort and better energy, and less flat performances, especially on the offensive end. But, it's not 35-point difference, but can you be 10 points better on offense and 10 points better on defense? And then you still got to figure out where the other 15 points come from. But again, this Oklahoma City team is historically good. So there are going to be a lot of things where you have to dig deep just to try to hang around for a quarter, then 2 quarters, then 3 quarters. You have to win possession by possession and segment by segment, go into media timeout, and figure things out. So as we continue to figure out how things go moving forward, we will send it to our second break, and then we'll try to find some positivity out of tonight's game.
The regular season, it's done. It's over. It's playoff basketball, which means it's the perfect time to get in with our friends over at Bet365, where winning is everything. And guess what? Right now, they're going to give you even more than everything, because if you bet $10, you get $200 if you're a new user with Bet365. That's right. You bet 10, you get $200. All you have to do is sign up, make a $10 bet, and they'll throw you $200 in bonus bets. It's a lot more fun than constantly refreshing the playoff scores, everything like that. No, you get $200 just by betting that 10, win or lose. And if you know it's me, you're probably going to lose. Plus, I love the interface over at Bet365. They're always adding new fun wrinkles and giving you profit boosts. Download the app, use code PHNX365, Bet365, where winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus only, must be physically located in AZ. Terms and conditions apply, in app only.
These guys like to laugh at me because when I talk about Circle K, I talk about how it's where I go to quench my thirst.
It's your juice stop.
It's not just my juice stop
Quench
though.
your thirst.
It's America's thirst stop, because sometimes I'll go there, I'll get 2 bottles of juice for $5. Sometimes I'll go there and I'm feeling a little low on energy, I get 2 Celsius for $5. And there's even more for those of you who are Inner Circle members. You can get a 79-cent Polar Pop. You can get a 99-cent Froster, and quenching your thirst is the best way to beat the heat, in my opinion.
So you're saying you're thirsty.
I can be after, but when I leave Circle K, when I leave Circle K, I'm not thirsty anymore.
The only thing with more juice than you is Circle K. All right.
You know what, Espo, we'll roll with that. We'll roll with that one. But all it is, go to Circle K, sign up for Inner Circle, and you also, it's not just drinks either. You can save money on gas as well. So quench your thirst and also save money on gas when you're an Inner Circle member. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. These guys give me issues about my thirst. So we're thirsty for something positive to talk about. And Rasheer Fleming gave us a few things, and that is why he is our dude of the night, presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit play@gila.com.
I can't believe we really did this. This is how down
Rasheer, Rasheer Fleming, the 4th leading scorer for the Phoenix Suns tonight with 9 points in just 8 minutes, 3 of 3 from deep.
Those per 40 stats are going to be crazy, though.
It does feel like we have to have a little bit of a Rasheer Fleming conversation, right?
No, I agree, but he did it against the OKC's 3rd and a half lineup there, like in garbage time. That's why I'm just laughing that he's due to the night, not at his performance. He went out there, he took his opportunity, he hit his shots, and he rebounded, and that's what he's supposed to do. If he gets in there, go out there, doesn't matter who's across from you. I'm just laughing that that's due to the night. So
I mean, his performance, though, I know we talked about it a little bit already, but do you think that he showed enough in his time? I know a lot of it was garbage time, but again, injuries is going to have an impact on how the lineups are adjusted game 2, depending on who's available and who is not. But did he show enough to earn a shift in Wednesday's game? I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen?
I think you might get an opportunity more so off of the dire straits of we need wings, guys with some size that can eat up some minutes, more than, hey, we saw you do this at the end of this game that was already out of reach when you got in, so we think you can come in and impact the game with everybody in the rotation similar to what you did there. I think it's more so significantly the former than the latter, but we'll see on Wednesday.
I think the thing with Sheer is I get the frustration, and I share some of the frustration with the fan base of him just being completely out of the rotation entirely. Like, I love Haywood Highsmith as much as the next guy, unless the next guy is Steven. But he's been injured the entire season. He's played, less than 10 games for the Suns already, and he's instantly passed Rasheer Fleming. And I think the thing with Sheer is, we're not talking about a complete unknown quantity, right? He played more than Man this year, and Man-Man's getting minutes, obviously, because Mark is injured, but he's still getting minutes. It does feel like there's a spot for Rasheer, and I understand that people want to see him, and I'm sure it doesn't help the discourse that he went 3 for 3 in his minutes from 3. He wouldn't be doing that against, OKC's starters, but I do think there's a place for him to help. I don't think that's the difference between winning and losing that game, and that's certainly not something that you're going to fire Jordan Ott over, so you could stop saying that. But do I want to see Rasheer Fleming? Yeah, I want to see Rasheer Fleming. Does it change much? Probably not, but I want to see it.
I don't think it's Highsmith's minutes that he would take, though. I think it's Dunn's if you're gonna do that. Highsmith has the experience, is only playing 8 minutes, but has shown his defensive prowess and his ability to do that in multiple situations, even in those 10 games. So I think you probably stick with him. I think you're looking at Dunn and whatever Jordan may abdicate with him being out injured. So how do you work him in? But playoffs, and we've talked about this multiple times this year, looking at getting into the playoffs. How do you adjust? That's what this is all about. And Jordan Ott pulling what strings he thinks he can. Right now, really, giving Rasheer minutes is about all you can do to adjust beyond
he didn't
what,
pull.
like
He's
you
playing
don't
Malawatch
have it. I mean, unless you're gonna go, let's play Amir Coffee, which isn't a string that
team high +1 for Amir Coffee.
So when you look at it, yeah, adjustments might happen. He may have earned himself a look in some of those first half minutes, and if he can make an impact, get more in the second half, you'll try anything as you adjust in series. But yeah, I don't know that would have made all the difference tonight. Maybe it helps in moving forward.
We talk a lot about wanting to learn from this series, Gil, and I mean, it'd be nice to see what Rasheer does. I mean, look, it might be Malawatch's minutes that he ends up taking and playing a little small ball 5, which is a button they pressed for the last couple weeks of the season.
It was funny.
Do people's heads explode though? Because they don't want small ball, but they want Rasheer.
It's like the guy sweating over 2 buttons. He doesn't know which one to grab.
The last 2 weeks that Rasheer was in the main rotation, what position was he playing?
5. And people were mad about it.
It's not going nowhere, and it's not because Jordan Knight is infatuated with small ball.
This team
It's
is
the
limited.
most effective backup center rotation minutes that they can get from the roster. This is an inherent flaw that when you make a Kevin Durant trade and you're hamstrung by Bradley Beal's $25 million still being on your contract per season, it's inherent that it's just inevitable. You got this on your task sheet at the moment. You're not gonna get bigger. You're not gonna get any smaller than you are right now. You can't make any roster ads. This is what you got.
And the thing I was going to say, too, when I asked what's the worst thing that could happen immediately, I was like, 2 quick fouls. That's probably the worst thing. That's the worst thing that could happen if you give him a chance. And,
for sure.
But I will say, like, it is good to see him play like that, even if it didn't, quote-unquote, matter. But what you said late game is that these reps still do matter. Like, that is Rasheer Fleming's first ever career playoff game. And he'll always look back at his first career playoff game and that he shot the ball with confidence and he didn't care who was out there or what the score was. He was playing like it was 0-0, and that's important whether it's in game 2 or whether it's in game 1 of a playoff series in 2028. We'll always look back to see what it is because he's a part of that plan as well. And it wasn't just his playoff debut. It was also Oso Ighodaro's NBA playoff debut, and he is our blue-collar boy of the night. Finished with no points, but he did have a team-high tying three assists, which, again, not very high. We talked about that already. 9 rebounds, 7 offensive boards for Oso. He was extremely active in keeping the ball alive and did some things that he could replicate, especially I know he probably expected to start, but being back in the starting lineup again and making his playoff debut in a starter role.
Our 2 awards had a combined 9 points.
Yeah, and all of them came from the guy who played 8 minutes.
9. Sorry, 9. Yeah, 9.
Sorry. Well, and so here's the thing with Oso, man. Like, he has been a serviceable starting center for this team a lot. He's going up against a tough matchup, 2 7-footers in Hartenstein and Chet. There was a period of time in this game where all of those offensive rebounds were kind of single-handedly trying to keep the Suns alive. They just couldn't capitalize like OKC would capitalize off of the offensive rebounds. But I know we're trying to be positivity hour here, but you look at that center rotation that doesn't include Rasheer Fleming, you got 0 points from all of them tonight, right? You got 0 points from Oso, you got 0 points from Kaman, and then you got 0 points from Haywood Highsmith as well. Something has to change with that if you're going to be competing.
I go back to the guard play, the primary ball handler play. If they're not sharp with the ball in their hands, if a quarterback isn't sharp with getting the ball to his receivers on their break in or out, knowing how many steps they're going to be taking and what the coverage is, how are they supposed to find impact? Like, genuinely, the offensive rebounds also gets, which is to his credit, talked about it last season, he's really good with the back taps, understanding where his teammates are, and when he's tapping it backwards, what vicinity he can tap it to so they can get it. That's awesome, but he's not coming down like Andre Drummond, grabbing those with 2 hands and then doing a power dribble into someone's chest and then going up and dunking it. It's not the offensive rebounds that he's getting able to put like a putback in some capacity. That's not what they're getting. So if guys aren't feeding the rollers, if guys aren't making their 5s impactful to shift the coverage that Oklahoma City is giving them, how are they supposed to find other impact? Like, that's a genuine question. And you're not getting your fast break points on top of that, so they can't get rim runs and fill a lane and things like that. It starts with the primary point of attack guys on offense for them.
Yeah, Gil, we were talking about it in the watch along, the aggressiveness that Oso showed on that one play where he turned the corner and went to try to dunk. Like that I need more of. I need more of from him. I need more of from the guards. Get into the heart of that defense and take it to the rim hard. Don't get in there and then try to bail out. Go in and take it at those centers. He got blocked by Shai, but in the end, I'd much rather see that kind of aggressiveness from this team than not. So
100%. And I think that's a big thing because when you think about the centers, obviously they didn't score. They can be so much better than they were. But again, that goes back to what makes this Thunder team so difficult because there are so many different ways that they can beat you from different areas. Didn't even talk about the fact that Chet Holmgren, 25 minutes, 16 points on 10 shots, also pulled down 7 boards. Like Isaiah Hartenstein had that crazy alley-oop finish that he had, like the double big lineups that they have. They present so many challenges that your bigs have to be up for the challenge. And then it's causing a little more, I guess, creativity, or it'll need some creativity given the Suns' deficiencies in that department on their roster, which is just, it is what it is right now. You got to figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah, and one last thing I think for me before we break here is that you look at the Thunder centers, and especially Hartenstein and Chet, and they can all create their own shot, right? Or spread it out to 3. Like Hartenstein's got the post moves. Hartenstein can go and get that floater. He has a patented floater. Chet, we saw hit a crazy 3, but he's also able to go get offensive rebounds opportunities for himself. One of the flaws of the Suns roster is, they don't have a lot of size. Another flaw is all of their size can't really self-create, right? Like we've seen it a little bit from Oso, but now that the games have gotten more important, it just doesn't seem like that's something that he could tap into consistently. Mark is not a big self-creator. He has not been this entire season. He's a lot of times just been a play finisher, which there's no problem. And then Kaman isn't a play finisher or a shot creator, right? So you can't just go get a bucket from a 7-footer, no matter who's on the court, and especially when one's not on it. You throw Haywood in there, he can't get a bucket. I mean, Rasheer might be the only guy who really can, and he's just taking spot up 3s. So it is a roster flaw, and you're going up against a team that doesn't really have any roster flaws.
No, but to your point, Steven, guards have to get those guys involved if you want them to have an impact on the offensive end. So
yeah, I know we talked about being positive, and from there we look at what lies ahead for this Suns team and what they can do as the series goes on, and we will do that after our final break.
Do you like candy and do you like getting high? Boy, do I have the company for you. It's our friends over at Pure Edibles, because Pure Edibles is a full-fledged candy company, but it's not just gummies covered in sugar that taste like weed. No, it actually tastes like candy, whether it's their gummies, their kicks, which is their version of Starburst, their chews, or their hard candies. Everything over at Pure Edibles tastes delicious, but I know what you're here for, and that's how it makes you feel as well. Pure Edibles, the most innovative edible in the game. Gone are the days of the labels of sativa, indica, hybrid. No. The labels are sleepy, uplifted, relaxed, balanced. However you want to feel, you'll feel it with Pure Edibles. No surprises, no, whoa, I did not expect that. No, you know exactly what you're going to get. A great tasting edible and some great feelings afterwards. They blend CBN, CBG, CBD, and marijuana-derived THC to give you the feeling that you want and that you deserve. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 150 dispensaries across Arizona, now including True Leave.
Listen, one of the keys to the Suns winning this series is making threes. And if you want to make your own threes, Arizona Lottery's got you covered because they have triple themed games. Triple the games,
some threes.
Triple the games, triple the fun. If you're over 21, that is, of course. There are 3 exciting triple themed games from the Arizona Lottery. Got triple red sevens. Ooh. Triple cash payout scratchers. You know the scratchers are where the fun are. And you get the chance to win top prizes of up to $100,000.
6 figures?
6 figures, $100,000.
That's 3 times 2.
3. See, there you go. Now you're talking. Triple Red Sevens Fast Play has a progressive jackpot, and that starts at $30,000. So you can get your money up with these triples. 3 is a magic number, of course. Right. Find all 3 tickets at a retailer near you, and of course, we like to go to Circle K.
Yeah, because 3 is more than 2, even when it comes to the Arizona Lottery. Ain't that great, huh?
That's quick math right
Look
there.
at that. It's that education, right?
Love that.
In high school.
3 is more than 2, and 119 is more than 84, and that was the final score in Oklahoma City tonight. I think the difference of that is 35. Don't need the diff graphic to figure that one out. But what's next? It kind of makes you think about the Kawhi Leonard question. Where do you go from here? When we go to Oklahoma City for game 2. Before we talk about that, we should talk about what we did tonight, how we performed. Did we do better than the Suns?
No. You by default.
Our Bet365 pre-game picks for winning is everything over at Bet365. And listen, we all lost. I voided Bet365 looked out for me with its prop protect because I had Jordan Goodwin for his points and he was out of the game with a first half injury. So if nothing else, Bet365 looks out for you in situations like that because every other one hit except Jordan Goodwin. He only played 5 minutes.
They're gonna hand you the victory in this second season battle here.
I
Ayrton's
almost hit
gonna
my
lose
bet.
his mind. Eh?
Yeah. I tried to jinx the Suns with an all OKC bet, and I was just Shai hitting a couple more points away from hitting my bet. So maybe I got to
basically-
go with a new theme, a new method.
Basically, the
second
Thunder are
game.
too powerful for
They
a
are.
jinx.
They are.
Yeah.
But like you said, looking ahead, Gil, Mark Dagnall talked after the game about the Suns coming off of 2 emotional play-in games and having just a little rest before game 1. He said, quote, "This is a tough turnaround for them. Now they get 2 days rest. We're going to face a tough rested team on Wednesday." Obviously, he wants his guys to stay, on it. The same reason why he kind of downplayed them winning the championship last year to them so that they attacked this season with a lot of fervor. But that is true. Like, the Suns are coming off of high emotional games. We saw the Warriors really struggle with the same thing going in a do or die elimination game and then facing the Suns after that. The Suns had no time to prep for this series, obviously in full. I'm sure they did some prep beforehand. They fly out to OKC, tough environment on the road. Guys played 40-plus minutes 2 nights ago in a highly emotionally charged game. Wednesday should be better. Better might be losing by 15 instead of losing by, 35. But better is better. I just want to see them get better.
Yeah, I mean, you had no time to practice in terms of installing anything for this series. It was, win, get on the plane, go there,
Go
and have a shoot around, essentially. Not even because it was such an
so
early
early.
game. so you
2:30
didn't
tip
even get-
in Central Time.
Yeah, so you didn't even get that. So, yeah, that's some of it. But we'll see how much that swings getting to practice under your belt.
Yeah, it helps being able to have a game of film. It's cool to have even 5 games of a regular season with the matchup with a specific opponent. It's a different level. Even if it was the in-season tournament, you still can't say that this is going to be exactly what they do in the ferocity and urgency they play with on the playoff stage. It's a complete different season for a reason. Now the Suns have a little bit of film to assess things from, on top of, like Mark Dagnall mentioned, the rest and kind of recuperating that needs to happen before game 2.
Before we get too far thinking about game 2 and some of the film that we'll see, are there any positives? What are your guys' love the play? We get to our love the play presented by our friends at Arizona Lottery, play and gift today. Anything when you look back at this game?
They
Like,
won the tip.
They did. Dillon Brooks 4-point play. That was nice. Suns keep on getting 4-point plays.
we talked about Rasheer's threes. Also,
Yeah.
I think Man had a chase down block.
I think that was called a foul.
Was it called?
Yeah, it was called.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's called a
well,
foul.
I like the idea of it.
I gotta love the plays plural. Just Devin being used a little different. I think the latter half of the first half, but going into the third and fourth, get him off the ball underneath the defense, coming up from the baseline, setting some screens to flip a matchup before getting to the basketball, and then having a more advantageous guy on him allows for him to do a little bit more in terms of dictating that points of attack. That's something the Suns should be leaning into more to kind of alleviate pressure for Devin, but also create a little bit of tempo that we continue to press the button on for them to get 2 actions with a little bit more dynamic of a look than just bring it up, wait for a screen, wait for a dribble handoff, get to that gets blown up. 10 seconds left, then what? So
Would you say that was an adjustment?
that was an
Okay.
adjustment. I mean,
wondering.
to your point, Espo, yes, Jordan Knott and company did make multiple adjustments in today's game.
Did he try making Dillon Brooks 4 inches taller? Or
I'm sure he
did.
did. It probably didn't work, but I'm sure he did.
Salt in the
I'm
shoes.
sure he probably tried to get them to shoot the basketball.
back to the
Get
drawing
that
board on
point.
that one?
I'm sure he tried to get the refs to stop calling as many fouls in favor of Oklahoma. I'm sure he pressed all the buttons he could in his control.
I like that you mentioned
Just,
Devin.
just because an adjustment doesn't necessarily reap the benefits of shifting the game in your favor doesn't mean that it was all for naught. You tried something, it didn't work, scrapped it, went to something else. That's it. You keep rolling till you find something that works. Sometimes you don't find something that works. It's playoff basketball.
And Steven, I like that you mentioned that Devin Booker and the way he was used and how he was operating in those spots. And I know Steve Nash kind of mentioned on Friday that Devin Booker has not necessarily been himself.
Mhm.
Do you think he looked a little more like himself today? And on the flip side, do you think those 2 days of rest are going to benefit him more than anybody else? Because this team doesn't have any chance of making anything interesting unless they get the all-star, all-NBA version of Devin Booker.
Yeah, I think he looked better when the adjustment was made. I think when we saw that, we saw him find a little bit more scoring rhythm, a little bit more playmaking rhythm. They need that blend from him in particular before anybody else. And I think the Suns' offense looked, it's not going to change the game, but it looked like maybe 5 to 10% better than it did at the tail end of the first half. that's a step in the right direction that you should be able to lean into more in game 2.
Yeah. And yeah, that rest will help. I mean, we heard the Steve Nash thing on Friday night that he wasn't at the best health all last week. So anytime you get a little extra rest, that helps with that as well. And hopefully he gets back to the level that we expected, because we saw, what is he, 8th all time in playoff points per game at
pretty good.
Almost 29. I think we could see him get back to that.
Yeah, I thought he looked good, especially for all the coverages that he was seeing, right? And if he played deeper in the fourth quarter, he probably would have been closer to those 29 points. Got to the line a little bit, led the team with 7 free throws, only 3 turnovers. I know you're going to look at the assists and say, well, we want more assists. Well, where were they coming from? He still has to be better. Some of those turnovers, trying to find Oso Ighodaro. He was a little bit late on the execution, getting it to him, trying to force it through some Thunder players. So again, maybe some film study, right? Maybe feeling a little bit better. These are all things that should help Devin Booker a little bit. But yeah, if the Suns want to win a game, they're going to need Book to go for damn near 40. They're going to need Jalen to get back into his playing bag. They're going to need Dillon to be a little bit more efficient, score some more points. So, these are all things they need to do. But at the end of the day, eliminate the mistakes first, and then all of that should come afterwards.
Eliminate the mistakes first.
The winning adjustment would have been for the Suns, the team, to not turn the ball over and not concede as many offensive rebounds, which led to second chance points. If you want to talk about tangible things that can be done in the game, they will shift the favor of the Suns having a better chance of winning tonight, doing those things from the onset, and then sustaining after winning the race for the first time out would have gave you that. There was no adjustment in the book to surmount what it was they were working up against after they got Oklahoma City to get the ball rolling.
Making good looks, too.
I'm sorry. We have Hornets Fever, by the way, in the chat saying OKC is trash. OKC has never won anything.
Hey, is this the old Clippers Nation that became Suns Nation that's now Hornets Fever?
Hornets Fever talking about the defending champions having never won anything.
I'm going to abstain from this
Make sure you leave a like, Hornets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brutal.
We hear Ant says we aren't out until we lose a home game, and that looks like it'll be game 3, but maybe not. Hey, it's true. I mean, they say that.
Yeah, series doesn't start till a road team picks up a win.
That's
so
what they've always said. That's what they've always said. Before I get to you guys' final thoughts, I think we have a super chat here from Trey. The game script was going perfectly until Dillon slowed the game down by hitting Chet in the face. I don't remember what the score was at that point, but
the Suns were up. Close. I'm pretty sure at that point.
That's when the deluge of foul calls started, and it slowed everything down and the pace down too, which was kind of when that started to turn for sure.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a flagrant, but it is what it is.
At least we got.
There were so many.
At least saw them call the same thing on the other end when Royce got smacked in the face. So consistency. Listen, I always said I abstain from ref conversations except when it's in the form of consistency or lack thereof. They were consistent. I have no qualms about that. Now that being said, your guys' final thoughts after this game 1 loss this afternoon. And then game 2 right around the corner on Wednesday.
I thought the refs were terrible tonight. No, OKC's going to be allowed to get away with physical stuff. You're just going to have to swallow that pill and get used to it for the rest of the series, no matter how long it goes. Lou Dort gets to be physical, right? And you can't stop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The refs know that, so Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets a lot of foul calls. These are things that you are just going to have to sit down every single game, take your medicine, and understand it. That's it. Other than that, there are a lot of other things the Suns can be better at. I think they will be better. I still think there's a lot for the Suns to learn from this series. There's been some discourse, shitting on the Suns, either in our chat or online or whatever. And I think Anthony Nash said it well on socials, which is there are some people who didn't think this team would win 30 games, and now they're tearing them down for losing to the 70-win defending champions, right? The Suns were never supposed to be in the playoffs. They certainly were never supposed to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder fully healthy on the road. Should they have been better? Yes. Could they have been better? Yeah. Will they? I hope so. But I'm still excited for playoff basketball. I'm so proud the team is here. So let's go pick up a win.
Flush it, get the plunger, flush it again. That's essentially what it is. You can't let this one carry into game 2. All you can do is go on to the next one and try to figure out what adjustments. Yeah, I'm going to keep
Get your
saying
choice
that.
of air freshener, spray the room out, get a candle, light it, get some incense, light
Turn
it.
the air conditioning on, turn the fan on in there.
Just burn the whole house down and move on to the next one.
You do all of that.
Build a new one, right? Like, and that's all you can do. It really, you lost this one. Doesn't matter if it's 1 or 50.
Yeah.
Just doesn't matter.
It's just one game.
The biggest thing they can do is the biggest adjustment is to control their controllables significantly better. So anybody that's looking for something different, it starts with the approach, the purpose behind everything on both sides. You start there, then you see where you are in comparison to what level of play they're at, and then you can find adjustments. But you can't adjust a house that doesn't have a foundation. So they didn't have their foundation in place tonight, so there's no house to build a game plan off of. You got to start with that foundation, and then you can start to assess things.
I'll just say one thing. Chachi in the chat says, foul bait them like they do. Give them a taste of their own medicine. Get OKC frustrated. That's not going to work. Right? The foul calls, they're not going to go the same way.
Not in OKC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think really at all. Like, we even saw, like, Devin Booker, his first bucket of the game. I wasn't foul baiting, but he had some contact from Lou Dort. I feel like usually Book gets that call. He has all season. Didn't get it this time. Like, you can't try to beat them at their own game in that way. You have to play your own, or else you're just going to be frustrated that you're not getting the calls that you're foul baiting for. And now OKC's running the other way and finishing on the fast break. So I would not do that, but I understand where you're coming from.
As for my final thought, I think I saw somebody say it earlier. Like, we knew what this Suns team was up against to begin with, and the Thunder are the gold standard in the league. They're the defending champions. So what better way to evaluate what this team has or does not have going into the offseason than watching them go against the gold standard in the NBA? That's where you want to be. They are where you want to be, and they've built their team one way. You can build your team a different way, but you can see how they measure up, and that might be you need more size. That might be you need more perimeter point of attack defense, but this is a good opportunity to figure that out for this Suns team. And again, it was just one game. It's the best of 7. It's the first to 4, so you lick your wounds, get back to it on Wednesday, and figure it out from there.
We've officially hit the point of no return in the chat, so I think we might need
that
might need to just call it
on
a day.
That note, I will tell you all to follow the Freckled Mamba at Freckled Mamba. Follow Steven at StevenPG3, and that's Steven with a PH. Follow Espo at Espo. Follow Eric at ERIKRUBY. Follow me at _. Follow the show at PHNX_Suns. Make sure you like and subscribe on the way out if you have not already. We'll be back tomorrow talking more about this game and spinning things forward to Game 2 on Wednesday. And, of course, we will have wall-to-wall coverage throughout the Suns playoff run. So thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you back here tomorrow.
Oh,
We all silly like the mayor.